Hey, what's going on, everyone? Happy Friday. I'm here with Canada, Canada West first champion from July, Ceroblast. How you doing?
Hi, Uncle Valle.
It's been a minute actually since we talked. Like I know it's we've been in a pandemic. Like I don't think a lot of people know like our history that we've actually played in a lot of like offline events pre-pandemic, and we're gonna
Yeah.
get there too. Like
Okay.
we got some pretty interesting topics to go over, and one of the main reasons we're doing this is to, give back to, bring a bit more personality to the events because they used to be, offline, and now that we're
Yeah.
online, trying to get you know some of the players in the forefront again, just to see how they are. So first of all, and I always like to ask this question, like, can you tell us about a little bit about your history with Street Fighter? Like, which one was your first game, and like first character picks? Like, yeah,
Hmm.
let us know. Let us know
Okay.
how you
Okay.
got into this.
Well, I first got into Street Fighter when I was a kid, actually. When I was like maybe, I think 3 or 4 years old. I would play the Super Nintendo with my dad, and he used to beat my ass in Street Fighter 2 all the time. And it's funny that I remember this because growing up, I would always play with him with like these random fighting games on the Super Nintendo, like Streets of Rage or something, and like Dragon's Rage or something. And then anyway, fast forward to like maybe when I like around 5 years old, when a year later, I started beating him in Street Fighter 2, and I think I picked Ryu. I was
Mm.
spamming Tatsu and fireballs because I learned how to do them. And he's like, "Oh, how do you do that? How do you do that?" And then he wouldn't play with me anymore because I would beat him every time. So that was my evolution to the game. As I got older, I started playing more fighting games, and then I dropped off a bit, and then I started branching off into like Third Strike, Marvel vs. Capcom, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So I do have a really pretty decent history with fighting games. That's pretty much how I got into it.
Yeah, so it's interesting, like I like to figure out where players really got their first hands on, and it's typically from their family or their friends, of course. Like there has
Yeah.
to be some connection to where they played it first. Console gaming, arcade, tournament. Like they didn't even play yet. They just kind of saw this stuff happening, and they're like, "Oh, great." And since you mentioned console gaming, even from the earliest times of playing Street Fighter, that's great, and especially from its family. Because for me, I got into gaming because of my dad and my uncle. Okay,
Oh.
and so the thing is, like, my dad didn't really play. Like, he got me and my uncle the systems because my uncle was like 9 years older than me, but like
Yeah.
we were like pretty much brothers at the point, right? So we were like just competing each other, like high score on different games, like from like the early Nintendo, like, hey, who can beat Super Mario Bros. On one life, and like we would play like in soccer and basketball too, just like, we were super hyper competitive.
Yeah.
And then like the when by the time, like, Street Fighter came out, and I just found it at like my general 7-Eleven. It's the first time I saw it. So it's either like somebody got you into it, you're already into the scene, but um I'm trying to let people know, like, this, this stuff, like, it's fun, you can play by yourself, but the true experience is playing with someone.
In the
That's
arcade. In the
yeah.
arcade.
Well,
That
just
yeah.
live, just anybody, like,
Yeah,
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 yeah. Like,
yeah.
online is great. Obviously, it's we'll talk about that later, but like,
Mm-hmm.
that entry point of somebody getting you into the game, like, there's no better feeling than that, and then you understand. And
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
and, and speaking to that, like, you mentioned that you played like the Marvel games and like the more robust technical games too. So that
Yeah.
goes all along the lines of my next question. So I'm gonna actually jump onto this. I remember you were one of the earliest adopters of hitbox. So, like,
Not hitbox. I was when you saw me at the first tournament, I was on my keyboard already.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you were a keyboard, but
Yeah.
you're dabbling
Yeah.
with
I had
that
my converter and everything.
that style of play.
Yeah.
So how did you get into that? You know, how did you you know you come from like I don't know your console gaming, your arcade to like keyboard. How did that work out for you?
Well, there was this one online fighting game I played a lot. It was called Rumble Fighter,
Oh,
and I used it's an online fighting game. So and I played Quan Ho a lot. So I used um
Congo, yeah.
yeah, Quan Ho, and then I used the keyboard because I didn't have a stick at the time, and I just got used to the keyboard controls, and I just felt more comfortable because like I have like relatively small fingers, and it was just execution felt easy like it was easy to do things, so it's just like comfortability. But now that I know it's like everyone is like switching to hitbox, and it's like yeah, it's execution's easier, like it feels more comfortable to do things the way you want to do it. Whereas in stick there is like there's a little delayed timing to like doing certain executions because it takes time to move the stick. So it's just there is better consistency in the hitbox inputs. And yeah, I that's what I noticed from everyone now switching over. So there's been a lot of people asking me, what kind of tips do you have using the hitbox and stuff like that? Because I'm used to those controls, and I've practically know all the like the shortcuts and everything. One of the main focuses I tell everyone when they switch to hitbox is to train your ring finger, like your left ring finger, because you will be using your left ring finger a lot when you play on the hitbox. So it's weird, but like you have to like do like ring finger exercises, and like because if you don't do it, then if you play in tournament with hitbox, you're gonna run out of stamina on your left hand, so you won't be able to execute motions properly at some
Mm.
point in the tournament. So that was one of the um, main issues I had when I switched from my keyboard into like an actual controller, where my buttons are laid out and everything. Um, and I didn't call mine the hitbox at the time. I called it the hurtbox because
That hurt.
because mine was literally WASD style layout, right, on the movement directions, and there was no other controller out at that time with that configuration. And then Mixbox came out, but the difference is the Mixbox, they use the keycaps on the keyboard, same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And mine is a button style layout, so it's not a keycap. So I I'm the OG.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm literally the OG.
I
So
remember
yeah.
clearly at West Coast Warzone. Okay,
Yeah.
and you were playing on one of those, peripherals, and of course, like it's obvious that we all can hear like button presses and joystick presses when you're next to each other, right?
Yeah.
So like that to me like is very normal, and I can kind of right feel. But when you were playing on that thing, I'm like, you're
What
doing
is going
a
on?
billion motions, right? But nothing's really coming out. You're just kind of vibrating left and right, left and right, left and right, and I'm like, that's messing me up because
That messes a lot of people
yeah,
up. Yeah, it does.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's good for you because nobody can. We forcefully have to like juke each other and do that because it's a silly thing, but it's the environment of a live event.
Yeah.
Where, like, unfortunately, yeah, you have to mask buttons. People get the silent buttons for that, and they work around that, or they try to sit behind you or something.
I'm familiar with the tech.
Yeah, with that tech. Correct. Yeah, but one of the main things I noticed is you were very consistent in stepping out of crouch and medium kick range. Like most people, when they're playing neutral, they can kind of only step out of that range, when they're ready for it, but not at the entire time. That's a skill. That's a skill, and because you're kind of conditioning your hand to be at a specific range, precisely. So a lot of people don't understand. Utilizing peripherals is like learning an instrument, and you have to practice that craft every day in order to be in a specific range at all times. And like you said, on stick, it's harder because sometimes you have to overcompensate. Some people dash
Yeah.
in, you got to react really quick. Other you're gonna have to uppercut, you have to fireball, you got to, V reversal. You gotta be prepared, and some of those things will take time. So, but it's great. It's great that you were one of the early adopters of it, and then it must feel good to see like everybody is finally on it, so we can start to play a higher execution game.
Yeah.
In the games.
I will say one thing though, because I did win. I at one point I won a Red Bull stick. Um, so I tried the stick for a bit, and it felt so satisfying to play on stick, like in terms of like, doing execution and like punishing people with things on the stick. It felt so satisfying. I don't know why. So it's just, I enjoyed that feeling when I was playing on stick, and but yeah, I had to convert back to my controller because just doing, I don't know, for some reason I have a hard time doing DP on the stick for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every peripheral has its pros and cons.
Yeah.
A controller or a gamepad, fight stick, hitbox. Like there's different hoops and hurdles that you're going to get through. But
Yeah.
whatever works. Like whatever
Yeah.
gets you going.
I will say though,
yeah.
if you have acrylic nails, fake nails,
Oh.
stick is the best. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't know.
Can't relate, right?
Yeah, but
Well,
like
yeah.
I've seen Ricky get by doing that, and we're like, me and Joy are like, I don't know. I don't know, but she does it. So, but okay. Let's talk about Street Fighter Five now. Street Fighter Five. You just came off a win from Canada West. I know we couldn't get you on an interview on that, but of course, congratulations again.
Thank you.
But World Warrior, what are your thoughts? Like, this is the first time this program has been implemented in the Capcom Pro Tour. Just want to hear it. What do you think?
Honestly, I think this program it's a really big opportunity for a lot of players that don't have the opportunity to travel. So I think this is a really great step towards whatever future plans Capcom has for World Warrior. I think it's just because it's to bring out hidden talent from every region possible, right? Whichever is eligible. But it's exciting because you want new talent every time, in Capcom Cup or whichever major final tournament that's coming out for Capcom. So I believe it is a really amazing opportunity held by Capcom, and I think they should, keep doing it as every Pro Tour comes of every season, or make it more opportunity given sort of other regions that are not known for Street Fighter.
Yeah, I'm glad you said those points, because those are definitely a lot of the pain points. Myself and Jimmy have brought up to Capcom, and discovering new regions comes with limitations on distance, right? Of like what can be included, what's right for it, how what's currently laid out in the Capcom Pro Tour. Can we add a couple more things, make it more reasonable that's not already on the tour? So yeah, a lot of experiments have been done in order to like make this grow. And another major thing is, of course, like the player, the opportunities for the players. It shows consistency too. Like there's it's sad to hear that this is the last year of at least Street Fighter 5, right? But like I think it's that next generation of players are getting much better now. The ones that always enter all those online tournaments are kind of like at the bottom of top 8 or something, but now they're winning. We have a lot of new like talent up there getting that recognition.
Like Just a Kid. Kid.
Oh yeah, Just a Kid, the Four Fills, right? Like
it's funny. I watch these players grow. That's the cool part. I watched them grow as I started playing. Like back in the days, like I was playing against Just a Kid back at East Coast Throwdown, and we would run sets I would beat him all the time.
Yeah.
And now he's godlike. So
Yeah.
it's really cool to see how far these players have come. It's actually really, really interesting. And back to the point of like hidden regions and talent. The perfect example would be Arslan Ash coming out of nowhere and just beating everyone in tech and like knee and like everyone who was considered godlike. He just beat them all and then he just won. So and then he said he's not even good. His whole region like gives him a hard time, and then now the whole region shows up. Now Arsenal's ass region is the best. So it's like you never know who's the best. Like you can be the best for a bit. Like Idom can be the best for like maybe half a year or a year, and then someone will just randomly show up and start kicking his ass. So it's just that's the nature of this game and just competing in general. Someone will always be better than you. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's amazing because there's always room to grow and improve, even though you're the best. I think that's the best part.
Yeah, yeah, you're definitely right about that. I think it's good for competition. You definitely don't want like a stale, like same placings. I don't think we've been seeing that much often. I think there's a lot of up and coming like I mentioned players that are starting to stack up against the veteran Street Fighter Five players, right? Like especially Europe is a huge case on that right now. You know, with a lot of their top players are you know now they're younger, you know.
Yeah.
So great. I love to hear the input about World Warrior, and thank you for that. You know, I think all the TOs out there also appreciate what you say because they're working, you know, literally around the clock to making sure their next monthly event is going to be produced at the level of like, you know, what modern streamed online tournaments look like. So let's talk about your region, Canada West. I know, like again, you know, you. We did mention that July just passed and you won it. We interviewed Mortzy and we got his thoughts. We'd like to hear about your thoughts and the up and coming players or the players that you think are going to be consistent in top 8, or you know, like any feedback that you would give about your region that you would like to share with everybody.
Well, for the most part, in my region, I considered the best, so I usually beat everyone in my region. But I think so. Is our region only for Canada, or is it or US can enter too? I don't remember.
It's US US West is region locked.
Yeah.
Canada West is
Okay.
region locked. There's a Canada
Okay.
East as well. It's also
Yeah.
region locked.
Yeah. Well, as far as like just I think all throughout Canada, I think I'm not bragging, but I think I'm considered the best. I'm probably I'm probably the best Canadian player.
Okay.
Ever since Street Fighter, not since Street Fighter came, but since the start of my competition, like when I was competing in Street Fighter, I think I was considered the best Canadian Street Fighter player. I still think I am because I don't think Safe is playing the game seriously anymore. I could be wrong. But he was probably the closest to beating me, or I would consider him as a rival in terms of Canadian Street Fighter. I think there was another one, Flux Waves. He was really good too. So those are probably would be my top 3 Canadian players. It would be me, Flux Waves, and then it'll be Safe. But now I don't know if they're still playing, so I would probably add Mortzy to the list. In terms of just best players in Canada. I think if I wasn't playing Street Fighter, I would give the title to Mortzy. So Mortzy is probably the most upcoming potential Street Fighter 5 player for just taking his potential and everything. He does have what it takes to really go far with the game.
Yeah, Mortzy definitely likes the program and likes the competition, and it's like I talked to him here and there about like the matchups too, where he does enter regular Wednesday Night Fights events and plays versus the U.S. players a lot. So like you said, everything you said. Like Morty is actually a really good ambassador for the scene. Says really good things about the region and really good with the community in all parts of like the U.S. and Canada. So no, thank you for your thoughts on that. And I know like we still have 4 more point-based events, and then the last one is the regional final. So you already said that you're the one to beat. So like, is there any player that you are worried about? Because anything can happen. Anything can happen. So
yeah. On a bad day, I could probably lose to Mortzi or White Gun, but it will be very rare because I usually beat them. So I'm hoping I can take it. So if I do win World Warrior, that'll be a huge opportunity for me just to get back into competing. I've just recently decided to take Street Fighter seriously this year again, since it's in his last season, so I might as well. So people are interested in what I can do with Ken since of his new changes and stuff.
Yeah, just great segue here. Ken is a beast. I'm gonna say like Ken is much better.
He is
much better. But the character doesn't win the biggest events consistently. But I think that's just the nature of the game. But in your thoughts, like, where do you think Ken is right now in like the tier list?
I think he is people have been saying he's the best Shoto right now, compared to like the past couple of seasons. So I imperatively agree that he is probably the best Shoto right now after like Sakura or Akuma or whatever. I think it would be Ken and then Ryu after, because Ryu has a lot of buffs and his buffs were really good. So it's actually crazy now that Akuma is not even like up there anymore, but I would put him like right behind Ryu or behind Ken. It's hard to say, because Ryu does have bad matchups compared to Akuma. Akuma can like deal with those bad matchups. But I really love the changes for Ken, especially the one where you can run cancel off your EX Fireball and V-Trigger. That's cheap. It's probably very cheap. It's probably the best change, and I think you've seen me use it against you many times, and you're just like, wait, I have to hold this. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you have to.
Burn VR early.
Yeah, so that's probably one of the best buffs Ken has, and I think the second best buff is they increase the range of his fierce DP. So if you confirm your low forward in neutral, fierce DP should always hit, which is really great. Before it never hit consistently, so we would only confirm low forward into EX Tatsu or light Tatsu or medium Tatsu, but those confirms were essentially a little hard to do, especially offline. But now, because our fierce DP is more consistent, we look for this confirm more often now.
Yeah, that's a really good buff. And the other thing is that you can also punish blocked attacks even better, like ranged blocked attacks, like Gil's tackle from far away.
Yeah.
Can't do that no more against
and your coral kick, every time.
Nope. Yeah, so it's got better punishes. Damage is still can damage, but like the thing is, more things connect. So in the corner carry is still amazing. So Ken is definitely, I think Ken is like, he is underrated top tier.
Yeah,
it's just because like
he's really strong right now, but he's still not considered well against like like the bad, like his bad matchups. Like, so his bad matchups are Birdie, Manat, Dalzim, Rose, Falk. Those are like his worst matchups.
Those aren't even that bad as far as like character. Yeah, like you would think like the Lukes and the Camis. And
Yeah, no, those matches I
do well.
I do well,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
I actually enjoy those matchups. The matchups I laid out with those are the matchups I hate the most because like I can't play neutral around them.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
to guess.
yep,
So
yep, yeah.
yeah,
You're definitely playing around the bullet hell or
yeah,
the long, super long range pokes. Got to take a lot of risk. I mean, that's the name of the game, and that's Ken.
yeah,
So
yeah.
cool. We got your thoughts on Ken, and we got your thoughts on World Warrior and pretty much your region. Uh, here's a fun topic before we wrap it up. What are your thoughts on Street Fighter 6? Yeah.
We haven't seen Ken yet. I need to know what he does. He's like homeless. We need to see what his.
Well, we don't know if Ken is in the game yet.
Okay. Here's my theory.
We don't know if Ken is in the game.
I've told this on stream multiple times. Here's my theory. Okay, and I think I might be on the dot here. So everyone in the universe of Street Fighter 6 right now is trying to help Ken get his powers back and make him feel better. The state he's in right now, because Bison hasn't been like, but we don't know if Bison.
Wait. Is this like just fantasy lore talk? Because none of this information hasn't been revealed yet.
This is real. This is fantasy lore, but I mean
fantasy lore. We'll just call it fantasy.
But
lore
this is my theory right now.
Okay.
I think Ken is actually not Ken right now. I think he's already possessed by Bison. That's why Bison is not in the game.
Okay.
So, and Bison is just dormant in Ken's body right now. But I think at one point he will turn into a violent Ken. And then that's why his fierce DP is gone, because he now has psycho powers. So right now in Street Fighter 6, every character is trying to help Ken, get rid of his possessed by Bison. And so I think Ken is he's the final boss of Street Fighter 6. He's violent Ken. He's the final boss. And I think he will be a playable character, or I think Ken will have an install where he can become violent Ken.
I think that's an interesting take. If anybody has played Ultra Street Fighter 2, Violent Ken is in there, and he can teleport.
He's also on CVS. Is he on? Was it
no
SNK? He's in SNK, right?
No, he's on SVC.
SVC, yeah, SVC.
Yeah, he's on SVC.
Yeah.
And like it's very very fun character, extremely cheap. Would be interesting to finally see him come back like this, because there's been so many iterations of Evil Ryu, right? There's been evil characters of other things, but not Ken. And
I need it. Okay. What if they give him a command grab?
All right. Outside the lore of the fantasy, how about like any thoughts on the current like Street Fighter 6 characters and how it plays?
I lost my mind when I saw Jury and Kimberly. I think they look amazing, and Jury's animation and her walk speed and everything. It just looks so. It looks like it's a huge difference compared to like the other iterations of Jury, because this is on the Unreal Engine now, right? So, I like it. It looks cleaner. It looks so cool. So I'm really excited to see more of the character reveals and what other character designs Capcom has whipped up for the game.
Okay, cool. So visually, it has a much better presentation, personality for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything from the gameplay that you picked up that looks interesting? Battle mechanics or anything?
The game is very heavily neutral based, so kind of like I guess Street Fighter 4 was considered heavily neutral based, but there was a lot of ridiculous things in Street Fighter 4 I heard of. So I'm curious to see how this will be different from, is it going to be a mix of Third Strike and Street Fighter 4 together, where it's heavily neutral based and there's really not that much of a comeback potential. It's more of a player comeback potential, based on the mechanics that are given to you. So it'll be very exciting to watch like real Street Fighter.
Wow, real Street Fighter.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I so Street Fighter, like every Street Fighter game has elements of the previous one. I
Right.
think Street Fighter Five has the most um, callbacks of every Street Fighter. I mean, it has parries. It's got like attack reversals, V reversals, right? It's got it just doesn't have any air blocking like the alphas. Not saying Street Fighter 6 has air blocking, but Street Fighter 6 also carries on some of Street Fighter 5's like, okay, we want to give everybody a bit of like familiarity, but we're gonna add focus attacks, which are drive impacts now, right? So Street Fighter 4 players are happy. There's drive rush, like FADC is back,
Yeah.
and the biggest one for me is that all of this is available to you as soon as the round starts. You don't have to wait for your health to be low. You just gotta strategically want to use it or not before you get burnt out, and that's gonna be interesting.
That's
too.
really cool. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
because like,
Yeah.
what if you jump over a fireball? You want to do like a drive rush combo that wastes about 3, maybe 4 bars, and then you have one more. Like, oh, they're in the corner. Let me do a drive impact. Then you have one blip left, and then you're almost burnt out. So like, those are the cool things that I was like not thinking about earlier when I first played it. Like, I was just overwhelmed by
all the information, right?
all the
Yeah.
system mechanics. I was just
Yeah.
playing straight up Super Turbo, low forward fireball. Like, oh, you're in the jump, I'm gonna uppercut. All right, let me try to parry now. And like, you can definitely play the game that way, but
That's
there's
cool.
there's so many different other options, which I haven't even thought about yet, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's so dope.
I think the coolest part is the EX meter doesn't use your CA gauge anymore. It uses the drive meter. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's like kind of like Third Strike, where you can do super EX cancel into supers, so that's back.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Or like Street Fighter 4, where you can do EX into Ultra. So that, right? So they kind of separate the meters. And the cool thing about the super meters is like, yes, they give you 3 different types of supers. In the classic version, you would have like 3 levels of a fireball, right? Like,
Yeah.
I got my 3 hit, my
They
5
brought
hit,
the Third Strike iteration, because like in Third Strike you can pick two or 3 different supers, right?
Yes.
But you have to pick them. You're locked with those. Now in this game, like you can use 3 of them whenever, which is really cool.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
for you, like say you have 3 supers, right? You have you're fully loaded. You
Yeah.
can pick that you want to do a Shincho Ryuken, like level 3, or you want to do 3 level 1s. So that's really like, oh wait, if you're gonna jump full screen, I'm gonna level 1 you every time. Like, so that's the range of depth a game should have. Instead of like, oh, I can't use this because I don't have V-trigger, or hey, I can only, before the match starts, I have to just pick one of the attacks. I'm like, so like, I'm excited, and I'm glad to hear that you're looking forward to it as well.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask like everybody's thoughts on Street Fighter 6, and hopefully the devs can see this too. That like we are excited. You guys are definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, it seems they've put a lot of work to it. You can tell, right? So it's good to hear, and I'm really hoping, the launch, like on launch day of Street Fighter 6, it will be glorious, because we all remember the launch time, like the launch day of like Street Fighter 5. It was awful.
Yeah. Just sure, there's a lot of lessons learned, and the community has also voiced the concerns all the way through. From the input latencies to like the netcodes and the character selection to like all brand new characters, no classic characters. There was a lot each year.
Yeah.
That I hope
Is the input latency going to be the same? Is the input latency going to be the same? When the Street Fighter 6 comes
we
in?
don't know. We don't know any technicalities of it yet, because like at the trade shows, like Comic-Con, there was the kiosks of the game, but like they were on specialized kiosk monitors, so they weren't really
they were optimized. Okay.
They weren't really optimized for
Okay.
what they had. It was just pretty much for the casual. And then but the stage setup was better. I remember that, but I still can't tell like, you know, I can't tell right off the bat. I just knew it was better, but I didn't know if it was like a 4 frame, like 3 frame. I think 3 frame like natural input latency is good, but like 4 is like supposed to be modern. Anything over that is crazy. So I know the community's already used to like.
We're
4,
used to six frames input.
yeah, 6
delay.
or 7 is like,
Yeah.
you know, like yeah. So just keep it like 3, maybe 4. I don't know. 3 is like the preferred by everybody. So
Yeah.
but yeah, no, Ceroblast, thank you so much for jumping on and talking about your thoughts on, you know, World Warrior, the community, Street Fighter 6, your history. We do have August World Warrior event coming up actually next week.
Mhm.
So good luck with that. Anything you want to say to your fans, anybody out there where they can catch you, your streams or anything? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been streaming more lately, so I do like, you know, viewer lounges. I'm starting coaching sessions again, so if you want to stop by the stream, it's right there, Twitch TV/slash Ceroblast. Um, yeah, I've been streaming Street Fighter more, so if anyone wants to tune into that, you know, I'll be there.
Awesome. All right. So thanks again so much for your time. Uh, good luck next week. Looking forward
Thanks.
to watching another great top 8 performance with that spicy Ken. All right. All right. Have a good weekend. We'll see you
Okay.
next time. Peace out.
Bye.